The series opens by introducing Kim Mo-mi, a seemingly unremarkable office worker with low self-esteem. At night, Kim Mo-mi sheds her ordinary persona and transforms into Mask Girl, a glamorous and enigmatic live streamer. Hidden behind a mask, she captivates her audience with her charisma, dance performances, and bold personality. This alter ego allows Mo-mi to express the confidence and allure she feels she lacks in her everyday life. The mask provides a sense of security and freedom, enabling her to live out her dreams without fear of judgment or rejection. She harbors a secret crush on her charming co-worker, Mr. Park, who is unaware of her dual identity. As Mask Girl's popularity soars, Mo-mi's dual life starts to unravel when a devoted fan, Juho Nam, discovers her true identity. Mo-mi's feelings for Mr. Park grow as they spend more time together at work. One night, their mutual attraction culminates in an intimate encounter, leaving Mo-mi hopeful for a deeper connection. However, her excitement is tempered by the fear that her secret life as Mask Girl could be exposed. She gets disappointed after finding out the affair of her boss and his assistant. She gets heavily drunk and dances on live streamer and takes off her clothes, shocking the fans. Meanwhile, Juho Nam, an awkward and obsessive fan of Mask Girl, becomes increasingly fixated on her and starts stalking Mo-mi. After seeing his boss and her together, he sends her an email of her being drunk and exposing herself. Juho Nam's obsession leads him to gather more clues about Mo-mi's life. His behavior becomes increasingly intrusive. Meanwhile, Mo-mi continues to balance her double life, unaware of the impending danger. The man tracks Mo-mi down to a motel. Pretending to be a fan, he forces his way into Mo-mi's room, attempting to take advantage of her. In a desperate struggle to protect herself, Mo-mi pushes the man, causing him to fall and hit his head fatally. As this happens, Juho Nam, realizing the man's true intentions, tries to call and text Mo-mi to warn her, but it's too late. The traumatic incident leaves Mo-mi in shock and fear. As he reaches her, Juho Nam realizes Mo-mi killed the man in self-defense. Seeing her desperate situation, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Later, Juho Nam confronts her, leading to a heated argument and a physical struggle. During the struggle, Mo-mi kills Juho Nam. The death is not premeditated, but the result of a desperate attempt to protect herself from Juho Nam's aggressive advances. In a panic after the motel incident, Mo-mi decides to flee her old life. She adopts a new identity, a new face, and moves to a different city, hoping to escape the consequences of her actions. Grieving and suspicious, Kyung-ja begins her own investigation into her son's disappearance. She visits his place, hires a technician to open his computer, and discovers his obsession with Mask Girl. Through her investigation, she learns that Mo-mi, her son's co-worker, is Mask Girl and has undergone plastic surgery. This revelation explains Mo-mi's changed appearance and secret identity. Determined to uncover the truth, Kyung-ja withdraws her savings, learns how to use a computer, and chats with someone claiming to know Mask Girl. The anonymous source sends her a video of Mask Girl's activities, confirming her suspicions. Enraged, Kyung-ja decides to confront Mo-mi directly. Kyung-ja tracks down Mo-mi, showing Mask Girl photos to strangers until she spots her at a night stall. Consumed with vengeance, she plans to abduct and kill her. Watching Mo-mi's movements carefully, Kyung-ja seizes an opportunity when Mo-mi is alone, forcibly taking her to a secluded location. Mo-mi, terrified and confused, insists she doesn't know Kyung-ja's son and claims she isn't Mo-mi, revealing her name as Chune. Seeing Kyung-ja's skepticism, she quickly convinces her that she knows who Mo-mi is and can help find her. Chune reveals her side story to gain Kyung-ja's trust. She explains that she was invisible in high school but fell in love with her classmate Bu Yong, who used her to buy drinks and borrowed money without returning it. Bu Yong became famous. After realizing how he used her to pay for his drinks as one of his 10 banks, she decided to expose his illegal activities, ruining his reputation. Dreaming of being pretty, Chune underwent plastic surgery. Later they met again, and Chune, feeling regret, took him in to help him rebuild his life. However, Buyong's bitterness and anger grew, leading to a tumultuous relationship. Despite her efforts, he remained resentful and eventually left her life for good. Chune explains how she met Momi. They crossed paths in the world of online personas and plastic surgery. She admits that, like Kyungja, she hates Momi because she stole her persona. Earlier, people would come to see her, but now Momi has taken her place. She admits to feeling responsible for Juonam's death and understands Kyungja's pain. This honesty starts to break down Kyungja's walls, making her more receptive to Chune's narrative. With a new understanding and an uneasy alliance, Chune and Kyungja resume their search for Momi. In reality, Chune and Momi, seeking to escape their pasts, found solace in their newfound identities and became friends, bonded by their shared experiences. Chune expresses her deep regret over the entire situation. She is determined to protect her friend. After Momi's identity is compromised by a relentless stalker who claims she is the masked girl, she decides it's time to leave town. The danger is too close, and her life is at risk. Chun-ai, fed up with Buyong's brutality, also decides to leave, hoping to escape his violent grip. As Chune gathers her belongings, Buyong catches her in the act. Realizing her intentions, he decides to punish her, striking her brutally across the face. Just as the situation turns dire, Momi arrives at the right moment. Without hesitation, she strikes Buyong, and together they overpower him, pulling the rope tight and leading to his death. Before they part ways, Momi reveals a shocking secret to Chun-ai. She is pregnant. The revelation adds a new layer of urgency to her escape, as she now has another life to protect. After finding out that Chun-ai visited someone, and the girl is confirmed to be the masked girl by one of her fans, Kyungja decides on execution. The tension builds as Kyungja tracks Momi down to her hideout. Chun-ai, torn between loyalty to her new friend and her alliance with Kyungja, armed and determined, bursts into the hideout. The room crackles with intensity as Kyungja raises her weapon, but Chune claims to be Momi and that she killed his son. In a climactic confrontation, secrets are unveiled. In a sudden violent outburst, Kyungja shoots Chun-ai. As Chune collapses to the floor, her final breaths are filled with regret and sorrow. Momi, horrified and devastated, is left to face Kyungja alone. With Chun's death, Momi's world shatters. In a harrowing finale, Momi disposes of the evidence by driving the car containing the two bodies into the river. Leaving her to grapple with the tragic aftermath, Momi is caught by the police and confesses her crimes. In court, her lawyer explains that the motive for the homicide was mostly self-defense due to Juonam's sexual assault. Momi is sentenced to life in prison. The scene turns to Momi wanting to leave the country and pleading with her mother to care for her child. When she refuses, she abandons the infant in front of her door. Mimo, as a youngster, enjoys cosmetics much like her mother. However, when her grandmother arrives and watches Mimo, she becomes afraid since she is reminded of her mother. Her pals at school distance themselves from her, as rumors circulate that she is the murderer's daughter. She searches for Masked Girl and learns the truth about her mother's arrest and her crimes. She puts on the mask and dances about, which horrifies her grandmother, who punishes her by taking her out of the house. In the heavy rainfall, we witness her grandmother carry her inside and take care of her cold. In her sadness, she develops a fondness for the food supplied by a grandma at a nearby stall. She uses violence against anyone who spreads rumors about her and her mother. Her aggressive acts frequently become severe. The trend continues as she transfers to other schools. Mimo is now an older child who is used to being alone and receiving rude comments. She is enrolled in a new school where she meets Yuchan, who befriends her. Meanwhile, Mimo ignores her. One day, Mimo witnesses Yuchan being bullied by her mean classmates. Mimo threatens the girls about them being stabbed, protecting Yuchan. Mimo and Yuchan quickly became close friends, sharing common experiences and secrets. One evening, while they sat in a quiet nook, Mimo opened up about a painful chapter in her life. She revealed that her mother, Momi, was in jail for committing murder. Mimo asked Yuchan to promise to keep this secret. Their friendship grew stronger. Later, Mimo found herself in trouble again when she stole someone's laptop. Her grandmother, furious and disappointed, hit her and told her never to come home again. Desperate and with nowhere else to go, Mimo turned to her friend Yuchan, hoping for a place to stay the night. When she asked Yuchan if she could spend the night at her house, Yuchan regretfully explained that her father was dealing with serious issues, making her home an unstable and unsafe environment. Left with no other options, Mimo decided to spend the night at her school. The next day, Mimo's grandma asked for Mimo at school, but not finding her there made her concerned. Yuchan, worried, called and texted her, asking about her whereabouts. Later, Mimo called and asked her to come to the underpass. She questioned Yuchan about why she spread rumors about her and her mother. The scene turns to Momi entering the prison. As soon as she arrives, she is made aware of the leader, Yunsuk, with whom she should not meddle, as well as the fact that if she becomes friends with Yunsuk, she may be able to help her with anything. However, Momi does not appear to be afraid of her. One day, the leader's convicts attempt to bully her without realizing her cruel side. Momi beats one of them as many times as the opportunity strikes. After a few years, she receives a letter with a newspaper article outlining inherited generational violence, as well as a warning that someone is attempting to exact retribution on her daughter. Worried about her kid, she decides to flee to protect her. However, her plan fails, resulting in solitary confinement for an extended period of about a month. After praying for a month for her daughter, she achieves peace and is released from captivity. The scene turns to Momi agreeing to donate one of her kidneys to Yunsuk's daughter. After the news that she can donate the kidney, Yunsuk tears up and hugs her affectionately. Momi sees an old woman who viciously smiles at her, stating she is Juonam's mother. The old woman recollects how she survived, changed her face and identity, and even chased after Momi, but couldn't find her as she was arrested. However, she tracks down Mimo, Momi's daughter, make her life miserable by spreading rumors and misguiding Mimo to use violence against those who spread rumors, manipulating her further with an altered motive since she could not take revenge on Momi. Kyungja explains all this to Momi so that she could feel the pain she went through after losing her son. Kyungja and Mimo are dining peacefully together, and Mimo, unaware of her intentions, tells Kyungja that she is her real grandma and would continue to care for her. Meanwhile, Momi attempts to acquire information regarding Kyungja's location with the help of Yunsuk. Yunsuk offers Momi her mother's phone number. When she calls her mother and informs her that Kyungja intends to hurt Mimo, her mother tells her that Mimo is okay and warns her not to call her again. She calls another time to Mimo's school, but they tell her to wait, and she does not receive a response. Yunsuk hands Momi a photo of her daughter. The next day, Momi is prepared to give her kidney and good clothes, and she views this as an opportunity to safeguard her daughter. The scene changes to Kyungja inserting a medication to make Mimo unconscious in the soup and offering it to her. Momi's mother calls Mimo's school and asks for her, while Yuchan informs her that the Tteokbokki grandmother propagated the rumors and had an odd obsession with Mimo. Momi requests a Bible at the hospital to boost her morale before the surgery. To escape, she manages to unlock her hands since she has the right to privacy in the lavatory. She attacks one of the officers and takes her phone away. As she climbs down, she is struck by another lady. Without losing consciousness, she drives the car and calls her mother. Momi informs her mother that Kyungja intends to get revenge on Mimo and urges her to contact the police. She also requests Kyungja's address and drives towards it. Police arrive at Kyungja's residence and investigate inside, but discover nothing. Sometime later, the grandma arrives and enters the house without knocking. She sees Kyungja coming out of the basement and hears Mimo's voice. At the same moment, Yuchan enters and unties Mimo, while Grandma manages Kyung-ja. Kyung-ja, furious, stabs Grandma with the scissors and is about to kill her when Momi enters and attacks Kyung-ja. As Momi enters the basement to assist the two girls in securely leaving the house, Kyung-ja appears with a bloodied knife. Momi attacks Kyung-ja and tells the two girls to leave. Kyung-ja and Momi attack each other. Kyung-ja becomes unconscious, and the three of them escape the house safely. While the police arrive, Mimo realizes that she is her mother. Kyung-ja emerges from behind, holding a gun and directing it first to Momi, then to Mimo, and is shot by Kyung-ja. Kyung-ja is shot by the cops. Mimo cries desperately as she holds her dying mother. The story concludes with Mimo thanking her friend and mourning her mother. Mimo cries in the end when she plays one of her mother's cassettes, in which she sees her mother as a child dancing on stage, wishing to be everyone's favorite person.